Excellent. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking out the time to be here today. It's always nice to connect with every one of you for our sections, and good to know that you all had a great week. And I want to especially thank our speaker for today, because I know it's a time crunching time for her, but she was able to set our time to be with us today. So thank you so much for doing that. All right, so today we are going to be talking about a very, very important topic. And can anybody guess what the topic is for today? No, not you, darling. Because I know where you got your idea from. Apart from flourish, can anybody guess what our topic is today? Our topic for today is? Nobody? All right, it's about talking. So what do you think it could be? Car. Can anybody guess? Car. It starts with a C. Talking starts with a C.
Communication.
Excellent. Good job. Very, very smart girl. Yes. So today we are going to be looking at effective communication. So not just communication, we're going to be looking at effective communication skills. And somebody may ask, what is effective communication? So I try to Google it up. Of course, we always want to go to Google. If you don't know anything and you want to get information, you can always just hit Google, and Google will always tell you. Well, I know what it is, but I just wanted to Google it as well. So Google defined it as a process of exchanging ideas, thoughts, knowledge, and information such that the purpose or intention is fulfilled in the best possible manner. So in simple words, it's nothing but a presentation of views by the sender in the way best understood by the receiver. So that's Google's definition. So effective communication is more than just exchanging information. It's about understanding the emotions and the intentions behind the information. So in other words, it's not just listening and hearing what the person has to say, but sometimes the emotion actually, do you know there are sometimes you can tell somebody yes when you actually mean no? You just said yes because you think that's what the person wants to hear, but then your emotion sometimes gives you away because in your heart it is a no. Okay, so effective communication is about understanding those emotions. So in other words, when somebody is talking to you, you try to understand. There's so many factors to look at to be able to receive the message that the person is trying to communicate with you. Okay, so it's in other words, to be able to clearly convey a message, you need to also listen in a way that gains the full meaning of what is being said, and also make the other person feel heard and understood. And you know what, when I was going through my my introduction, and I came and I wrote down feel heard and understood, I remembered a conversation I had with Dr. Awazie. She happened to be we happened to have a close relationship. And she told me, I don't feel heard. I'm like, what? That means I wasn't communicating properly, because I was talking, she was talking, but she didn't feel heard. You know. So effective communication involves the person feeling heard, and it's not really instinctive. So in other words, it's not a natural thing. I mean, don't think it's not easy to effectively communicate. All too often, when we try to communicate with others, we say one thing and the other person hears something else. Has it ever happened to any one of you before? I mean, you're saying one thing, but the person that you're telling is actually hearing something else. And I know it has happened to me on so many occasions. So there is often misunderstanding, frustration, and conflict often ensues when things like that happen, because the person, I mean, what you meant to say was not actually what you meant to say. And sometimes when the person repeats what I said, I'm like, hey, that's not what I meant to say, but that's actually what came out from your mouth. So this can cause a lot of problem at home if care is not taken at school, even at work, or any relationship at all that you have, there will always be a challenge if you don't effectively communicate. And oftentimes communicating more clearly and effectively requires learning some important skills. And that is why we're having a workshop today. We are going to learn the skills to properly communicate so that we can effectively communicate. So whether you're trying to improve communication with your friends at school, maybe your teachers, your boss, your coworkers, learning these skills can deepen your connections to others, build greater trust and respect. It improves teamwork, problem solving, and your overall social and emotional health. So good and effective communication is about understanding instructions, acquiring new skills, making requests, asking questions, and relaying information with ease. There are 4 types of communication. So when somebody's trying to communicate with you, they can communicate verbally, non-verbally, written, and visually. So today we have my very close friend who is going to show us how to effectively communicate. So just a little bit about her. Dr. Awazie was born in Edo State, Nigeria. She studied and got a bachelor's degree in dental surgery from the University of Benin in 2000. She did a housemanship at the University of Benin Teaching Hospital in 2001. I don't know how many of you were born then. And Youth Service Corps at the Military Base Hospital in 2002. She worked for 3 years and then moved on to the Edo State Hospital Management Board as a dentist. After that, she started the evening dental clinic in Faith Mediplex to serve the population who could not keep the morning appointment due to their busy schedule. While pursuing her career in dentistry, Dr. Awazie went back to the University of Benin to acquire a master's degree in health planning and management. After completing that degree, she started her residency program alongside a second master's degree in public health before relocating to Canada. So she's well read, and I know she's communicated with so many people. So she's going to share some of those skills with us. So Dr. Awazie rose to the position of a senior resident doctor before she was offered a political appointment as a commissioner for commerce and industry for 1 year. Following her hard work, she was moved from the Ministry of Commerce and Industry to the Ministry of Health as the first female health commissioner and the first dentist to be a health commissioner in Edo State. Since moving to Canada, Dr. Awazie took the dental assisting program at Douglas College, where she had an excellence award. She completed a certificate program in orthodontic dental assistant, as well as certificate in sedation. In 2017, she changed her career course following the challenges encountered with supporting her special needs son. Presently, she is completing her bachelor's degree in psychiatric nursing. Hey guys, take a leaf from her. She keeps on reading and reading and reading and reading. Isn't it amazing? Despite all the career and academic involvement, the most important part of her life is her relationship with God. She's married for 23 years. To Dr. Awazie, and they are blessed with amazing children. And I know some of her children are also here with us in this program. So let's welcome Dr. Awazie as she shares with us communication skills. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ma. Can you all hear me?
Perfectly well.
That was a mouthful. That was a lot.
That's your achievement.
Well, I want to say thank you to Dr. Blessing Ude. Since I met her, she's really motivated me. She's impacted my life and my family a lot. And also, it's a privilege to be in this platform to speak to every one of you. I really enjoy being with youths. I really enjoy being with young people because they are those that are very special to God. For you to make heaven first, you need to be a child. Yeah. So, well, today let's just go straight to our topic. Dr. Blessing Ude has already completed the topic. I think we should just pray and then go straight to our questions and go home because she's spoken about every single thing I plan to share with us today. But however, so we can be able to spend the time that we allotted for this program, let's just go. So can you all see my screen?
Perfectly well.
So today we are talking about effective communication. And are you seeing everything, or do I need to?
Slide by slide is great.
Okay. Slideshow. One moment, guys. You know what? Let's just go this way. I'll just be scrolling it. So our objective today, can you see the next slide?
Yes.
So our objective today, we're going to be talking about the meaning of communication, the different types of communication, and then after talking about the different type of communication, I'll ask some questions, because I don't want to just keep blabbing away. I want it to be an interactive section, because when it's interactive, everyone is alive, is participating. But if I'm just on the stage talking throughout the section, sometimes I might lose some of you, and that won't be an effective communication. It will just be like me saying what I want to say, and then you probably doing some other stuff. So for this class, or for this section to be very productive to all of us, I think it's better we are all interacting and we are all engaging. So after talking about the different types of communication, we'll have a little activities. And then after that, we're going to talk about what effective communication means, and we'll look at the different components of effective communication.
I need to help you to show you.
No, don't worry. It's okay. Don't worry. I'm okay. So,
okay, but
thank you.
I was going to help you to do a slideshow.
I'm please sorry, guys.
That's all right.
You know how it
That's all
is.
right.
Don't worry. Actually, there's nothing to hide. I prepared my slides. These girls didn't see my questions or anything, but to show my slides with Zoom, Zoom technology is different.
Yes.
They helped me to prepare the slideshow, how I should send it as slideshow.
That's excellent.
And I couldn't do the slideshow right now, so that's why she's here trying to help me. We are all learning, right? I keep learning.
Good job.
So if you don't mind, maybe I should let her show me how to do the slide stuff. So go ahead.
Slideshow, and then you click on this.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much. So awesome. So guys, I got help.
Yes, thank you.
So we are talking about, talking about the meaning of effective communication, we're going to look at the components of effective communication, and then we'll go over to the benefits of effective communication, and then final part is our game time / questions. So the first thing here we have, what is communication? Pastor Blessing gave an in-depth definition of communication. I try to put down whatever I have to make it, because as part of communication, it must be concise, it must be short, and it must pass on the message that you are planning, that you intend. So a simple definition here is that communication is the exchange of information through speaking, just like I'm talking to you right now, or through writing or other means. So before we proceed, I just want to ask a question. How many forms of communication are we using in this platform right now? From this definition. No, not you, Flourish. I know you don't know the answer, but I'll give you opportunity. But we need to be fair. Remember how I said when I prepare my question, I want to be fair. I don't want you to be around my questions. Can I call names? Where's Omonwa and Omone? Can I? Of course. So what forms of communication are we using right now? We have three, at least three that I can think of. I just defined communication.
Wait, what was the question?
Okay, so the question is that right now in this forum, can you identify the types of communication we are using? I'll go over it, but I just want to see where we are at so that when we are done, we can now know what new we got.
We use verbal communication
Awesome.
and and what's it called again? Written communication. These are the slides.
Awesome.
I don't know. Isn't there the visual communication, like the
Awesome.
non-verbal communication?
Awesome. Good job. So I'm going to go to the next slide. So these are types of communication. We have the verbal communication, which involves words, like I'm speaking to you. We have the non-verbal communication, sending messages through your language, gesture, dressing, perfume. Have you realized that there are some people, when they get into a certain occasion, even without turning your head, you will know they have arrived? Because why? They are known by their perfume. They use a particular perfume, same amount, same fragrance. Like even without turning your head, you will say, oh, this person has arrived. And probably when you turn your head to look around, you will see that they are there. Even some people, their clothing, the way they dress in a particular way with a particular style, even some kind of brand, so that they want to portray like what they want other people to see of them or understand about them. So those are messages that are being sent. They are part of communicating to the public or to others. There's something that we say in Africa or Nigeria, where I came from. They say, dress how you want to be addressed. So if you if you don't dress like responsibly, people can just treat you the way they want you. They just feel like they should address you. And you see, somebody might not really have much, but just dressing respectfully or respectably, someone could just look at you and think probably you own the whole world. So that's why in Africa we have that phrase that says, dress how you want to be addressed. So your dressing, your perfume, how you stand, how you sit, tone of voice also is a way of communication. You can't say to someone, would you apologize for what you've done? And the person says, sorry. How does that sound? Does it really sound sorry?
It doesn't sound sincere.
So it doesn't sound sincere, but the person said the word sorry. So tone of voice also is a part of communication. And then other forms of communication, including written communication, like sending letters, emails, posting stuff on social media. And in terms of social media or internet, we need to be very careful. Don't post the message you do not intend, because it's a form of communication. And the worst part of that type of communication is that sometimes you may not be able to retrieve it. That's why before you post anything, you should pause and think through if that's exactly what you are communicating, if that's exactly what you want the public to understand or to think of you before you post it, because it's a form of communication and you don't even know how many people who are going to have access to it. So the last type of communication is visualization, like pictures. Drawing pictures. Some people, without even saying something, can just show you a picture and then you are very upset. Or they can even show a picture to you and you are very happy. So it's a form of communication. So the next thing we're going to look at right now is, what does effective communication mean? So our main topic. So effective communication is the ability to clearly and accurately, look at those two keywords, clearly and accurately, disseminate information as planned. You know, sometimes when we want to communicate with people, especially when we started, probably in the course of having an interaction, they piss you off. You may say things that you do not intend. I can see some people communicating, not listening. That's why it's good that the camera is on. So please, can we be a part of the class? We are talking about communication. So your body language, I'm also reading that you're communicating something. So may we know what you want to say to us? Okay. So, like I was saying, effective communication, you have to be clear about the message you are passing, and you have to be able to pass it across. That's when the message is heard. That's when the message is effective. Sometimes some people have social anxiety. They may have rehearsed, they may have planned what they want to communicate, and then when they find themselves where they want to pass on that information, they may be so nervous that they are unable to pass on the message the way they have planned it. It's not their fault that they were unable to do that, but what happens is that that communication may not have been effective because the receiver who is listening to that message may not have also received accurately what the sender intended to send. So that's why before we send our information or send a message across, we should think through that message and know whether that's exactly what's going to come out of our mouth or our body language or whatever is what we intend to send across. And when we decide on what we are sending across, we also should think that this medium of sending this information, is it the right medium for that individual? It's just that maybe you are going to be communicating with someone who is deaf. Apparently, the person may not hear your words, right? And then you are speaking to the person, and probably the person doesn't know how to read your lips. So eventually, whatever good message you have prepared, you may not be able to effectively pass it across to that other individual who is deaf. So for any communication to be effective, you also have to consider the means of communicating that message to the other person, considering the person's own ability. So also in terms of effective communication, you need to also look at the academic level of the person. Some of the words you want to use, it's just that maybe you go to the doctor's office and they are using some medical terminology. Quite all right, these are two adults that are communicating. One is an expert in medical field. The other one might just be an expert in social media or communication or sociology or something so different. Everyone is an expert in their own way. So for you to effectively communicate, you must use the right language at the level of the other person you hope to understand your planned message. So if peradventure you are maybe a medical personnel and you are talking to someone who is not an expert in medicine, you have to find a word, a general word that every common man on the street can understand to communicate what you intend to communicate. That's the only way you can say that you have effectively communicated. I remember back in the days when we were in the university, some people tried memorizing the dictionary. Probably you'll just be talking to someone and he's quoting some big grammatic word from the dictionary. You'll just be looking perplexed. Oh my God, this guy is so smart. He's so smart, he's using those words, but he's not communicating because you're not understanding what he's saying. It's good, he memorized the dictionary, he's using some very good words. Yes, awesome, those words are grammatically correct. Those words they are good to be used, but the person you are communicating with does not understand those words. So how can they relate to what you are saying? So in that context, you are not communicating effectively. So to communicate effectively, you need to use the appropriate medium for the person you are communicating with. If it's a child, you use your child, you go to their level. So also, effective communication plays a very important role in healthy relationship. There's been so many people. I will cite an example as an individual. There's none of us that is perfect. There are some relationships that I've lost in the past because I wasn't very effective in the way I communicated. So they say words, they are like egg. You know, when your egg cracks, when it falls down and it cracks, you can't get it together to be the whole egg that you got before it fell and cracked. That's your word. You can say sorry several times, but these words, you can't pull it back. And not everybody responds the same way to same words because we are all unique in our own, we are unique beings and we handle stuff differently. And even someone who could even take some joke at different times may be so stressed that in another situation, they may not be able to handle similar joke. So that's why we must be sensitive to how anybody we are communicating with their state, their emotions, and whatever to decide on how to communicate. Because if we do not communicate effectively, we may lose very important relationship. So whether at home, at school, at work, in our businesses, in our social life, we have to learn how to communicate effectively. So I just want us to do this little exercise. There are two pictures here. What do you see? Let's take turns to talk about what I've been talking a lot, right? So what do you see on the screen? Okay. Ore, did you raise your hand?
Oh, I was scratching my head, but I can answer.
Okay.
Okay, so in the picture on the far left, on the left side, it seems as if the individuals in this picture don't have effective communication skills, because you can tell by their facial expressions. On the contrast in the picture on the right side, you can see that there is effective communication because everyone seems like happy and in oneness.
Awesome. Okay, so Pearl, I saw you raise your hand. What do you see? Okay, after Pearl, is it Omonwa or Omone? Okay,
Yeah,
so after Pearl, then Omonwa. What do you see?
I see that people on here are like kind of frustrated when they're talking because it's kind of hard for them to communicate and they're not using the right language.
Awesome.
And on this side, they're all understanding each other and making sense to each other because they know what to say and they're using the right words.
Thank you. So Omwa?
Yeah, so what I saw is that on the left side, there are people who are like arguing and are openly like frustrated, which probably is what escalated the situation to where it is right like in the picture. And on the other side, there are people who they may not have the same ideas or whatever, but they have a respectful way of communicating it and sharing what they feel.
Awesome. So is there anyone else that want to speak to the picture? So you can see that on the picture where they look frustrated and they are arguing, you see everyone is just talking at the same time. You can see this lady, her mouth is open, this one is open. This is even like almost being physically aggressive, right? You can see the hand motion. You can also see this guy's hand motion. You can see how they are staring close, how close they are. You know, when we talked about communication, we talked about different forms of communication. Even this position here is too close. And with the way they are looking at each other, you can see that they are assuming aggression. They are communicating aggression, frustration, anger. Here you can see how disrespectful they are of each other because everyone is talking at the same time. They are not allowing each other to finish talking before the next person. And in this chaotic situation, nobody is hearing the other. So at the end of this meeting that they are having here, what do you think will happen to the group? Yes, Flourish.
They're probably going to be really angry at each other and not talk to each other. Or like whatever reason started the meeting, it probably will end up not getting resolved.
Awesome. And then in contrast, look at this other, here we have two groups, right? You can see on this picture, we can clearly see 5 people. Here we can see 5 people. But you can see the serenity here because they are all understanding each other. One person is talking, the others are listening. You can see the dot here, indicating the person who is speaking, and the others are listening, like giving each other turns to speak. So you hear the other person's opinion. Even you don't need to agree to what everybody is saying, but you can listen and hear from their own end and understand what they are saying, because everybody is right in their own thinking and in their own feeling. and as well as you are right in your own thinking and in your own feeling, but it's just to be respectful of the other person while expressing your own view. So we'll go on to does anyone have any question regarding this picture? Just checking time. Any question? Okay, so we're moving over to the next slide. So components of effective communication. There are so many components, but here on my slide I have 6. So we're going to be looking at 6 of them. The first one I have here is assertiveness. So what does it mean to be assertive? So assertiveness means a set of behavior and communication style that is open, honest, direct, and confident. Oh guys, sorry there. So there's no need to read it. So what assertiveness means is that you are able to honestly express how you feel while respecting the other's own feeling. So this is just grammar here. So, but the simple meaning of assertiveness is that you don't have to say, yes, I agree to what you are saying. It's just to say, yes, I see where you are coming from, but this is how I feel. So using assertiveness, you can express your anger, your frustration without hurting your partner. And this is how you do it. You don't say, oh, you know what? I hate, okay, the word I is very important. You don't need to say the way you behave, like pointing at the other person, the way you always behave makes me so angry. No, you can only explain how you feel. But however the other person is feeling or coming across is the person's responsibility. So they may not intend what you are feeling. They may have intended something differently, but the way whatever their intention is makes you feel might be different. So you only have power over your feeling. You only have power over you, not over the other person. So an assertive communicator will say, when you did A, it made me feel this way. So it's how it made you feel. It's not you. So your emphasis is not on the person's action. Your emphasis is on how you are feeling. Because most times when you lay emphasis on the person's behavior, they become very defensive. And sometimes they eventually realize that what they did wasn't all right, but they are defensive. So the first thing is not just, generally as humans, we are very defensive. We don't want nobody to like talk down on us. Sometimes we may be defending something that eventually we realize that, oh, actually we were not right in those decisions or whatever we did. But the first instinct for any human being is to be defensive. But when you come with the attitude of assertiveness, the person will not be defensive. They will listen. Because, for example, I'm saying to you, what you did, blah, 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 made me feel this way. So that's my feeling I'm talking about. You can't now argue with me that, oh, you don't have right to feel frustrated, or you don't have right to feel angry, or you don't have right to feel worried by what I did. You have right to feel however you want to feel, but I don't have right to determine your behavior. So that's what assertiveness means. Does everyone understand what I explained about assertiveness? Any question? Awesome. So then the next thing is attentive to non-verbal signs. You know, sometimes you could just walk into a room and you'll find somebody that is so quiet, feeling sad, without even saying that they are feeling sad. Just the person's way, expression, facial expression, the way they are seated, not upright, slouch in their chair, you can easily tell that somebody is not happy. But for a good communicator, for an effective communicator, you need to also observe the person's posture, observe the person's facial expression, tone of voice, and all that to realize that this is how this person is feeling. But if you're not an effective communicator, you could just go there screaming, excited, and just doing your own stuff and talking and just blabbing away without looking at the person's non-verbal signs that are saying, I need space. You know, sometimes people don't even use their words to say, I need space. I don't need you right now. But their attitude says to you, step away. And sometimes if we're not sensitive to that, it can lead to confusion, it can lead to aggression, it can lead to anger, frustration, or whatever. So we need to be very attentive to people's body language, which could be their facial expression, which could be their tone of voice, which could be the way they are looking at you sternly. There are some people, even just looking at how they are looking at you sternly, you can see that they are angry. They didn't say nothing, but their eyes and the expression shows anger. So an effective communicator must pay attention to nonverbal signs. People always want to spend time with people who understand them. They don't want people who piss them off and make them feel worse. So another component of effective communication we want to look at now is empathy. So empathy means that you're able to understand what somebody is feeling, and you see it from the person's own viewpoint, not from your own viewpoint. You know, life is dynamic. Sometimes people can handle their stress. Sometimes people just need someone to hear them out and listen. So to be an effective communicator with being an empathetic, effective communicator, this is what you do. For example, somebody has made a long sentence, and from what your understanding of the sentence, you say, it seems like you are frustrated. You are using the word, it seems like you are frustrated about the whole thing the person has said. If the word that the person is trying to pass across is not frustration, we say, no, it's not like I'm frustrated, I'm overwhelmed. So using a word to like put all the situation together, the person will know if you have understood them. You say, it seems like you are frustrated with all this that is happening around you. You say, no, I'm overwhelmed. And sometimes if you are able to identify the right emotion, the person feels heard. And sometimes you could even use just that word that you understood from the person's whole sentences, that the person, sometimes you don't even know what you are feeling. You just know you are feeling something, you're not feeling okay. But someone that is a good and effective communicator listening to you will say, oh, I hear you. From all you have said, it sounds like you feel overwhelmed. You say, yes, I'm overwhelmed. I am doing A, I am doing B, and they feel heard. And they feel like, yes, you are connecting with me. But empathy does not mean that, oh, you just feel sorry for the person. Oh, you carry over the person's problem or whatever. No, it's just identifying that I see this is your emotion. I see. So in empathy, you are able to understand the person's thoughts, understand the person's concern, and then use it as a sentence so that the person will know you have heard them. Any question? Is he understood? Awesome. So the other three components of effective communication, I'm checking time so we have time for a game. So the next one is to be non-judgmental. Before we continue, can someone tell me about a situation where you have felt like someone is judging you? Okay, Pearl.
Well, I've been in this situation many times.
Okay, many times. Okay. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know how to explain it, but there's this person, she used to be really mean to me, and sometimes she would just like judge me for my lunches I brought to school, and she would make fun of my lunches and say that, and also make fun of me, and she would always kick me and hit me.
How does that make you feel?
Not good.
Good. And because you don't feel good, do you enjoy spending time with that person?
No.
Okay. So for us to be an effective communicator, we must present an attitude of acceptance. When he says attitude of acceptance, doesn't mean you agree with what the person is saying. You're just acceptance by respecting the person's values, the person's feeling, and the person's experiences. Because two people may experience the same thing, but it impacts them differently because of the differences in our stress level, our ability to, our resilience or ability to deal with our stress, or because of our present condition. There are so many factors that make two different people undergoing the same stress to react differently. So when people are communicating with us, for us to be effective, we come in form of not in a non-judgmental way. When people realize that you are non-judgmental, they feel freer, they feel safe to talk to you. But if you are going to a friend or someone you feel that would judge you, how do you feel? Would you be happy to go there? Or probably if you have had an encounter with someone and you felt judged, would you be happy to go back there again? I need response. So if you know you wouldn't be happy to go back there and you want to keep your friends, what do? You'll be open-mindedness. Because today the person might be in a different state of mind, different from the previous time. And if you use the previous experience to conclude present situation, that will not be good. It will be like you're coming in form of judging the person. So being non-judgmental is a way of being an effective communicator. So we have to be open all the times. Then genuineness. Genuineness is very, very important. So the meaning of being genuine is a harmony between your verbal and non-verbal behavior. Dr. Blessing mentioned that today, that there are some situations that when you are talking to somebody, your words does not match your behavior. Just like I said, somebody saying sorry. You just said, you expected someone to apologize for something and the person says, sorry. The word is sorry, right? But the behavior does not show that the person is sorry, right? So that person is not genuine. So for you to be genuine, if you feel you are not genuinely sorry and you don't want to say sorry, you are not being forced to say sorry. You should be genuine about that. You don't need to be insincere. But when people know that you are sincere, they trust you better. They may be angry. Sometimes you tell people, this is how this makes me feel. Even sometimes, like me, I have one problem. I don't know how to say no. But somebody said, no is a complete sentence. If you mean no, it is a complete sentence. But for people who don't know how to say no, you feel uncomfortable about saying no. But that's a complete sentence. So instead of saying yes, and you don't mean yes, all you mean is no, just like our pastor told us this afternoon, or Dr. Blessing told us this afternoon, you are saying, oh, okay, yes, I will do it, but you don't mean it. That's being ingenuine. So it's better to be genuine. Your friends will know that yes, when you say yes, you will be there. You mean that yes. And when you say no, you mean the no. So also to be a good and effective communicator, active listening is very important. You will take note of the keyword active listening. Active listening. It's not just listening. I've said a lot of stuff here today. You may be listening to me, but you may not be hearing me. So that's why active listening is important. Remember, Dr. Blessing said something to us today that you can be listening to somebody and then or you can be talking to someone and when you ask them what you said, when they tell you what you said, it's a totally different thing from what you intended to pass on. So that's why active listening is important. And for you to be an active listener, if you feel like you do not understand what the sender of the message is trying to pass across, you ask questions. This is what you said, is that you paraphrase. Asking questions, you can paraphrase what they have said. If it is right, they will say, yes, it's right. If it's not right, they will clarify. They can use a different form of sentence to pass across that message until you do understand. But you know what happens? Sometimes we are so embarrassed to ask questions. Any problem? I can see Omone. Okay. So if sometimes we feel embarrassed to ask questions. When that happens, you may not understand the message that is being sent. So don't feel embarrassed. It's your right to get the clear message. Because if you don't get the clear message, you will not be able to transmit the right result. You may not understand the person. So an active listener is able to ask questions, is able to paraphrase, is able to also reflect on what the person is saying. Because when you reflect on what they are saying, you'll be able to see the emotions behind the words. And you'll be able to understand where they are coming from. Do you know that sometimes children might just want attention? All they just want is just a little bit of your time. It could also be your sibling, your younger sibling. All that person wants a little bit of your time. But guess what they will do? As they come to you, they say, oh, please, can you help me with water? You may be too short that their water bottle is right beside them. They are asking for water. So in words, you think it's water they need. It's not water they need. They just need your time. They just need you to leave what you are doing and spend time with them. So as an active listener, you will understand that the water is here. You can then ask, is it that you really need water? Or you just want us to spend time together? So that's paraphrasing, and that's trying to understand where they are coming from. That's empathy. So an active listener, you listen to the tone of the person's voice. If the person is using a low voice in a sad mood, it's not the time for you to be excited. You match the person you are speaking with, or you match the tone of voice to the person's tone of voice. And then even if you have nothing to say, just for the person to understand that you are listening, you could say, okay, I see. Yes. Like saying some prompts, minimal prompts, to let the person keep speaking so you can clearly understand the person and you do not interrupt. You know, sometimes I am one of those people that sometimes I want to say what's on my mind. So if you do that, don't judge yourself. We are not all perfect. We are all moving towards perfection. So when we find our weakness, we work on it. These things that I'm teaching us today doesn't mean that I do all of them. Some of them I'm working towards it. That's why we must be open to learning every day. So like sometimes it's like I just want to get it off my chest. Because I talk. I'm one of those people that talk. Some people, I'm an extrovert, I will say. So, but you're not an active listener if you're interrupting. You need to hear, because sometimes the main message might be at the end. Then you will be able to respond appropriately. So, can anyone give me any other thing that you know can improve your communication that is not on this slide? There are so many. Pastor, how many more minutes do we have?
We are 1 hour, so we can have about 30 minutes, including the Kahoot as well.
Yes. So, okay. So I think we're almost at the end, and we'll go to the Kahoot, so you have some more time. So can someone tell me another component of effective communication that is not on our slide? Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Omonwa.
So what we thought of is like eye contact, or like facial expressions, like how you respond to it with like your face and your like body. Like,
awesome.
Yeah, and like how you look like when you're listening to them, and like showing that you're like engaged and like hearing what they're saying. Awesome.
Yeah. Being warm and attending. So that's your body language. It's called being warm and attending. And so being warm and attending, you're showing respect to the person, that I value you, I value what you have to say, and I respect you. So it's just sitting like, it's not like someone is talking to you, you cross your hand. You know when you cross your hand, you may not be seeing me. When you cross your hand like this, sorry, let me adjust. When you cross your hand like this, it's like, it's a closed posture. Like, just get it over with. Let me get out of here. I'm not interested. That's what this posture means. So you have to be open, and then leaning forward means I'm interested. You know, when you are talking to someone, the person leans forward a little bit, not just hitting your partner, but just a little bit leaning forward means, oh, I'm really curious. I'm interested. What do you have to say? So those posture, they indicate that, yes, I'm with you. They are signs of you effectively communicating, even with your words or without your words. And eye contact is very important, because your eye contact can either show that you are uninterested or you are interested, or maybe there's a medical condition, because there are some people who genuinely cannot have an eye contact, and we know that they have problem, and we already know, so we don't even need to judge them if they are not looking at us when we are talking to them. So good points, girls. Thank you. So Flourish, what do you have to say?
I was gonna say also, like, continuing the conversation and like kind of shut it down. So after they've said something, you add to it as well, so it doesn't seem like they're just dragging on and on.
Yeah, that's a good point. So acknowledging what the person is saying, even if you need to change the topic, which is sidetracking, that's what is called, sidetracking. So if you need to change the topic, acknowledge what the person has said, and then you can now raise a new topic. But just like ignoring the person totally and then bringing up another topic is disrespectful. It's like, what are you talking about? This is what we need to talk about. So acknowledge the person and then move on to a new topic. So thank you so much. Thank you for all your contributions. They are does anyone have any other thing to say before we move on? All right.
Yeah.
Do you have any contribution?
Oh no, I don't have anything. I'm just writing everything down.
Okay, what's your sister's name?
Danielle.
Danielle, I haven't heard your voice. Do you have anything to say? Okay, thank you. So, some benefits of effective communication. In fact, Dr. Blessing told us all the benefits. So I'm just only going to be repeating what she has said, and then I'm going to get more from you. So from the slides, the few that I have here is that it promotes sharing of the right information. So because when you think through what you are going to be passing across, the message that you intend to pass across, and then you succeed in passing it across, then you are able to share the right information. And then it helps to establish a bond. When someone feels heard, they are always coming to you. When they want someone to hear them, they will always come around you, because they know that no matter what they say, even if it's stupid to other people, you don't see them as stupid. You won't judge them. You will listen, and then they have that bond with you. Then it also leads to an intended result. So if peradventure you are a good communicator, someone is saying something to you you do not understand, you ask questions, you clarify, you paraphrase, then at the end of doing all those clarification and doing all that, you'll be able to understand what they expect of you, and you'll be able to produce that expectation. So one of the benefits of being an effective communicator is that you are able to achieve the intended result. It also leads to appropriate feedback given and received. Some people are unable to receive feedback. We must have open mind. Sometimes some of those feedback, in fact, most times, there are some things we do not see that happens. Like there are some things that my children say to me, and when they say it, I may not even realize that, yes, I'm doing this. But when they bring it to my attention, I think about it and I really realize that really this is it. So I'm doing that. Because sometimes we cannot really see things the way we see things in our own way, but it's others who are around us that can tell us this is who we are. And then whatever they say, nothing anybody says is stupid. Is to ponder over it. Is this true? If it's not true, discard. If it is true, you find ways of improving, because nobody is perfect. We keep learning. Life is a learning journey. When you stop learning, you start dying. Only the dead never learn. Nobody is perfect. So we must have an open mind. We must be happy to receive feedback. If you are not the type that likes receiving feedback, people don't give you feedback. And sometimes it might land you to a situation that is hard to retrieve, but you're already there. People saw you walking right into that fire, but they said nothing, because they said, don't worry, this person has a closed mind. No matter what you say, they will not hear. I don't want to ruin that relationship. Let's go. So we must be open to feedback. Not all feedback are right. So that's why you also ponder over it, but be respectful in receiving it. Also giving it. You don't give, when you want to give feedback, there are good ways of giving feedback. You don't judge somebody giving feedback. You start by emphasizing on their strength, on the positivity, and then you give, it's called constructive feedback. Yeah, you do not intend to destroy that person. So giving a constructive feedback, you first start by talking about the person's strength and then say, oh, it will be okay if you can improve on this. And you could also suggest ways of the improvement, but not like you're teaching the person, but you're constructively putting forward some suggestions. Then effective communication also help build strong relationship. Of course, when you are not confused, you are not frustrated, you are able to resolve conflicts, because there's no relationship with conflict. I've seen people who have, they will say, a perfect relationship, in quotes. In quotes, when you instead of resolving your conflict, you avoid the conflict. Avoidance is very dangerous, because when you avoid those conflicts, it's going to make the person more frustrated, more angry, and when they react, the relationship cannot be restored anymore. So if you're an effective communicator, even when you have conflicts, you are able to communicate and walk through the conflict and resolve it. Sometimes resolving conflict doesn't mean that everybody agrees on the same thing, but resolving conflict is that seeing the other person's point and seeing your own point, and everybody agrees to disagree, or agrees that, okay, that is it, but we heard each other. So then also another, I've talked about conflict and confusion. So that's part of the benefits of effective communication. The floor is open to anyone that has more benefits to contribute. Any more contribution? Okay, so now let's go to the next slide, which is questions. Any question? No question? Okay, so we're going to go over. Pastor?
I'm listening to you.
Yeah, so if there's no question, I want to go over to Kahoot. Is that okay?
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma. One moment, guys. So, okay, I'll go.
That's all right, take your time.
Okay.
Valerie, that's a great baby you have there, so cute.
Oh, okay. Can you see my
Yes,
screen now?
Very well. Very well.
Okay, so if you have Kahoot account, please, you can just go there. This is the pin. But if you don't have the account, this is the website. If you are ready, just give me thumbs up and then we'll start. I can see Flourish has signed in. Okay, Pearl, I can see you.
So we now know those that have the Kahoot accounts.
Yeah, Omonwa has signed in. I'm waiting for Omone. Sarah has signed in. I'm waiting for Ray. And so one more. Okay, Uloma. Who is Uloma? Uloma has signed in, but I can't see her face. Yeah. Should we wait? Is anybody still signing in before we start the game? So 1 more minute, then we'll start the game. Is that okay? Or 2 more minutes?
Aurel, are you guys okay?
Oh yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Are you joining in the game?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we are waiting. Oh, Ore and Danny. Okay, so Valerie. I didn't see Valerie. So guys, should we start?
Yes, I think we're all good. I think everybody signed.
Okay, awesome. So
join later.
good. I need to move this so that I can see. Yeah, good. Okay, awesome, better. So start. They are very easy questions. So can you see the question? Click your answers.
What is communication? Exchange of information.
Done. Good. Awesome. So the correct answer is, can you see the answers though? So correct answer is exchange of